and egg white.
Woke Asian guy here for a mini podcast rant. Surprised are you? No, you're not surprised. Let's cut to the shit, and bear in mind I'm not trivialising the tragedies that took place in America. I'm just adding more absurdity to an already absurd situation. So you probably heard about the recent mass shootings in America, one of many, and it's heartbreaking on what's happening. The media outlets and I use the term loosely, 240 character angry Twitter citizen journalists are talking about this tragedy. But what can I, Wokie, bring to the national conversation that hasn't been said by everyone else, including Fox News, the news station where we make up the news? At the moment, the NRA, lobbyists, Ted Cruz and Donald Trump himself at a bloody NRA conference, aka the Festival of Guns. Rather than have gun control, they should arm the teachers, have retired officers patrolling the yard. In fact, do retired police officers want to spend their golden years milling around schools armed to the tits? They've done their duty in law enforcement and should be bed hopping in Cabo. Basically, having more guns around schools, which is interesting to someone who grew up in the UK, is insane! Also, this is the same Donald Trump draft dodger and mediocre military school graduate who couldn't even shoot his load, let alone his rifle. Just ask Stormy Daniels.
Hello, pussycat. Come here. Who's my good communist? You are darling. I give you metal all over the face.
I say sod it. Let's take their ideas on board and try an experiment. We pick a state and try it there for starters and observe a whole school semester and see what happens. It will be a grand social experiment, the likes of which has never been tried before. Firstly, we arm the teachers, give each and every one of them a firearm as a carry and conceal. Imagine that.
God, where are you going?
I'm going to the gun range to get some target practice, get some dinner, and then do some marking.
Great! Keep up your active shooter training. If you need any more ammunition, drop me an email. As headmaster, I got your back.
Also, stop the American voice. Also, are the teachers going to put in orders for pens, papers, school books, and 150 rounds of ammunition for a Glock? Imagine that. Teacher training days will be the gun range also for half a day. The staff room will have them all comparing their guns and types of ammunition. What are they shooting at the weekend? Duck, geese, clay pigeons or real pigeons? Or poor people? Will they wear fatigues and flak jackets in class? Huff it, it's America, we armed the kids. Obviously, and it's weird me saying this, but due to health and safety laws, the kids can only use BB guns. But even then, having 30 BB guns pointed at an armed intruder would be pretty painful. And playground games will never be the same. Also, how come they will get to the school classroom? I know, how about we arm the janitors? Let's go crazy. They can have shotguns on their cleaning trolley, so anyone walking down the hallway will be stopped effectively. I was going to say, lay some landmines on the lawn, but even Ted Cruz will think that's going too far. You know, there'll always be one kid late for class, running across the lawn. Oh, poor taste joke in the Ricky Gervais style. If, let's call them sensible people, think that it's too much too soon, how about this? An even grander, more contained social experiment. Bigger than the last social experiment I was proposing. We build a small town and get some role-playing actors to play the armed teachers, get dwarves to play the school children, and also arm the janitors and have the retired police and military outside. We can then run some training exercises where an active shooter tries to gain access, and we can see how it will play out. Obviously, everyone will be using blank ammunition. The great social experiment. I might even pitch this as a game show and make some money on the side. Title: Active Shooter Triathlon. In fact, if I mention this idea to the NRA, I bet they will jump on it as they can use it to train everyone. Imagine getting feedback notes like this. The ammunition goes through walls and might kill staff in other rooms. We need prison walls. Female teachers need holsters that complement their dress sense. The whole thing is maddening, but what of the teachers? Do they leave their guns in school, carry it with them? Because you never know, there might be a ruckus in aisle 12 of the local supermarket. Attention! Attention all, there is a firefight in aisle 12. That's aisle 12. Please make your way to aisle 9 where there are some great deals on furniture. Said bellends, Mr. Cruz and Mr. Trump have said, to stop a bad guy with a gun, you need a good guy with a gun. Forget the fact that if nobody has access to guns except law enforcement, things might be a bit more like every other country in the world. Anywho, that isn't going to happen, so imagine the interview in the gun store.
So, son, your background check comes back with no issues, but I have to ask, are you a good guy?
Of course I'm a good guy.
And I take your word that you're a good guy.
There are definitely a lot of bad people out in this world. I will definitely only use this to shoot vermin and definitely not people.
I take your word for it. Here's your rifle and ammunition. Have fun!
Also, one final weird story, and it's true. I once worked for an American company that had an office in London, and the contract they gave me was from the American version. And was surprised to read on the final point, it actually said, and I quote this, "No firearms to be brought on any Company X properties." For them to actually have that amused me. To explicitly say it's rather impolite to bring in a firearm as it may get in the way of work. I mean, who wants to be distracted by me polishing my weapon openly on my lunch break? This is America! Learn the rules! All in all, I really hope they just sort out their gun problem, but with the lobbyists trying to stop the changes, it's going to be a tough slog. But then again, we here have knife crime, which is just as bad. Are we going to ban kitchen knives? Anyway, I'll be back in the next pod with Egg White talking about other nonsense on the news of the day. Woke Asian guy.
And Egg White.